she screamed. Call 911. He did this, while pointing at me like I was a criminal. But the ground under her heels was already shaking. Lava light was glowing behind her fancy villas, and the smell of fire was in the air. Just an hour earlier, she had stood at my gate with that fake smile, waving an HOA paper in my face, telling me I had no right to live there. She said the Volcano slope was community land now, said I had 7 days to leave. I stayed quiet, because arguing with people like her is useless when you know something they don't. She had built those luxury villas fast. Too fast. Glass walls, infinity pools, party lights every night. She called it a private HOA paradise. She ignored every warning sign, every old map, every local voice. When I told her this land was dangerous, she laughed and said, "Sir, I decide what's dangerous here." That night, her big launch party was loud. Music, rich guests, champagne everywhere. And me. I was standing far uphill, watching the volcano breathe like it always does before it wakes up. Then it happened. A deep roar, like the earth was angry. The sky turned red. Guests froze. Someone dropped a glass. Karen ran onto the stage screaming orders, acting like she could control fire the same way she controlled people. Lava broke through the ground behind the villas, slow but unstoppable. People ran. Tables flipped. And she locked eyes with me across the chaos, shouting the line she would regret forever: "This is your fault." She didn't wait for answers. She pulled out her phone and yelled, "Emergency. This man sabotaged our property." I saw her point straight at me while flames reflected in her eyes. Minutes later, 2 security SUVs rushed in, lights flashing, but something felt off. No sirens. No badges I recognized. They jumped out fast and grabbed my arm like they were sure I was guilty. Karen crossed her arms and smirked, shouting over the noise, "Remove him. He's trespassing on HOA land." I looked past them and saw lava eating the first villa, glass melting like water. People were crying, running barefoot, screaming for help. One guard twisted my arm harder and hissed, "You should have left when she told you." I stayed calm, because fear was never my problem. I slowly said, "You might want to check who actually owns this slope." Karen laughed loud, almost shaking, and yelled, "I own this. Night. I own this. Land." That's when the ground cracked again, much closer this time, and her smile finally slipped. One of the guards froze when he felt the heat rush past his boots. He looked down and jumped back as lava cut across the path between us and the villas. Panic hit hard. Karen started screaming at everyone to move her guests first. Not the staff, not the locals, just her people. I saw it then. No care, no control, just power-drunk fear. She ran toward the control booth, trying to save her event, her image, her money. I raised my voice for the first time. Not loud, steady. "This land is federal restricted land." The words landed heavy. The guards looked at each other. Karen spun around fast. "He's lying." She yelled. I pulled my phone out, tapped once, and showed a glowing map. Old lines. Red warning zones. Her villas were built right on top of them. "I tried to stop you," I said. "You buried the notices." That's when real sirens finally broke through the chaos. And Karen whispered something I wasn't supposed to hear. They weren't supposed to come yet. Fire trucks and police cars came rushing in, lights cutting through smoke. The fake guard stepped back, suddenly quiet. A real officer walked straight past Karen and looked at me. "Sir, are you the one who filed the restricted land reports?" Karen laughed nervously and jumped in. "Officer, he's just a squatter. Arrest him first, we'll talk later." The officer didn't even look at her. He nodded at me like we already knew each other. "We've been waiting for tonight," he said. Karen's face went pale. "Waiting? For what?" she asked. I turned my phone around and hit play. Videos, dates, emails, warnings she ignored. Her signature approving construction after every red alert. Guests nearby stopped running and started listening. One woman whispered, she knew. Lava swallowed another villa behind her, like it was answering the question. Karen backed away, shaking her head, repeating, "No, no, this isn't happening." The officer raised his radio and said one calm line that changed everything, confirming, "This man is the federal land caretaker assigned to this volcano slope." And for the first time all night, Karen was the one with nowhere left to stand. She snapped. Full panic. She screamed that the papers were fake, that the land was hers, that I tricked everyone. Then she did the worst thing possible. She tried to run, straight toward the only road out. The officer grabbed her arm, but she shoved him and yelled, "Get off me. I pay your salary." That line sucked the air out of the place. Everyone heard it. Phones came out. Someone whispered, "Did she just say that?" The officer stepped back, calm but cold. "You are under arrest for trespassing on federal land, endangering lives, and impersonating authority." Her knees almost gave out. She looked at me like I had betrayed her. "You could have stopped this," she cried. I looked past her at the fire moving closer to the crowd and said quietly, "I tried." You laughed. Then, the loudest crack of the night hit. One villa collapsed into lava, and the crowd understood something all at once. This wasn't bad luck. This was consequences. They put the cuffs on her right there, while ash fell like snow. She kept yelling that the HOA would save her, that lawyers were on the way. Then a firefighter shouted that the slope was about to give in again. Everyone had to move now. As they rushed people out, a man in a suit stopped near me and said in a low voice, "You're the reason my kids are alive." I nodded, but my eyes stayed on Karen. She was still talking, still blaming, until she saw the final report on an officer's tablet. The report showed one last twist. Insurance denied. No coverage. No bailout. Because the land was never legal to build on. Her luxury dream wasn't just burning. It was erased. She screamed my name like a curse as they pulled her away. But the volcano answered louder. Lava covered the road she tried to escape on, cutting off everything she thought she owned. And I said the line people would remember. You don't control land that can wake up and fight back. Morning came slow, grey, and quiet. Smoke still rose where the villas used to shine. News vans lined the road. Reporters talked about corruption, fake HOA power, and lives almost lost. They showed old photos of her parties, then cut to live shots of black rock and melted steel. Karen sat in the back of a cruiser, makeup streaked, staring at nothing. No yelling now. No control. Just silence. An officer handed me a folder and said, "Federal command approved it. This land goes back under protection today." I looked at the slope. Still warm, still alive. Families hugged nearby. One kid waved at me like I was a hero, but I wasn't smiling. I said one simple thing to the camera when they asked why I stayed calm all night. I didn't fight nature. I just stopped the wrong person from fighting it. And somewhere behind us, the volcano let out a low rumble, like it was agreeing. Weeks later, the place was quiet again. Fences were up. Warning signs were back where they always belonged. No music. No lights. No fake power. Karen's name showed up on the news one last time. Charges filed. HOA dissolved. Assets frozen. People finally learned the truth. She never owned the land. She just bullied people until no one questioned her. I still walk that slope some evenings, checking the ground, listening to it breathe. Nothing dramatic now. Just peace. A neighbor once asked me why I never told anyone who I really was from the start. I smiled and said, people who respect land don't need threats. And people who abuse power always expose themselves. The volcano stayed calm that night, but the lesson stayed loud. Perfect. Here's an extra twist to close it with a punch for the audience. Just when everyone thought it was over, a drone flew overhead, live streaming the slope. The camera caught something unexpected, a hidden HOA camera network Karen had installed, still recording everything. Clips of her yelling, ignoring warnings, and blaming others went viral within hours. People all over the country were sharing it. Comments poured in, "That's justice." She finally got exposed. Even in jail, Karen saw it. Her face on every screen, every phone. No lawyering, no tricks. The world saw exactly who she was, and I stood on the slope, watching the sunrise, thinking one line that felt right: you can hide from the law, but you can't hide from the truth. The slope was calm, family safe, and the lava? It rested too, as if agreeing that justice had finally settled. End the story.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more amazing HOA stories.